ever walk into a room and feel like you just disappeared? Not because no one literally sees you, but because no one really sees you. It's like you're still there, showing up at work, holding things together at home, juggling responsibilities. But somehow, you've slipped into the background of your own life. You speak, but you're not always heard. You give, but you're not always noticed. You exist, but you don't always feel visible. This feeling is more common than most of us dare to admit. When was the last time you truly felt seen? And it tends to hit somewhere around midlife, often after 45, when the roles we've played for years start to shift. Maybe your kids need you less. Maybe your job isn't as fulfilling. Maybe the mirror reflects someone you're struggling to recognize, or maybe it's not even external. Maybe you don't feel as present in your own story as you used to. But here's the thing. Feeling invisible doesn't mean you're invisible. It just means it's time to shift a few things, to reclaim your space, your voice, and your sense of being seen by others, but even more importantly, by yourself. In this video, we're going to talk about 5 surprisingly powerful ways to feel seen again. These aren't about chasing attention or reinventing yourself overnight. They're about reconnecting with who you are now and how you want to show up in the world. Let's start with the first one. It begins with something deceptively simple, showing up fully in your own life. And no, that's not just a catchy phrase. It means stepping into your day with a presence that's intentional. Because invisibility often starts on the inside. When you're on autopilot, when your calendar runs you instead of the other way around, when you stop checking in with your own needs, that's when you start fading from your own view. Showing up fully might look like saying no to something you'd normally just accept. It could mean taking 10 minutes in the morning to sit with your coffee without your phone, letting your mind wander, letting yourself breathe. It could be as bold as signing up for something that's just for you, not for your kids, not for your partner, not for your boss, just you. The more you anchor yourself in your own day, the more grounded and visible you become. Even if no one else notices it right away, you will. Another powerful shift? Reclaim your story. Somewhere along the way, we start shrinking parts of ourselves to fit into what life needs from us. We become the mom, the reliable one, the helper, the manager. Those roles matter, absolutely. But you are not just the roles you play. You are a person with a history, a voice, a personality, with quirks and contradictions, and things you still love, even if it's been a while since you touched them. Maybe you love writing, but haven't picked up a pen in years. Maybe you used to dance, or sketch, or sing in the car at full volume, and now you barely hum along. Bringing those parts of you back, even in tiny ways, reminds you and the world that you are a full, vibrant, evolving person. You don't need permission to be whole, and that leads us into another important truth. Visibility is more emotional than physical. You don't need to wear brighter clothes or get louder to be noticed. What people respond to most, whether they realize it or not, is energy, confidence, presence. People tune in to those who have a spark, even if it's quiet. And often, that spark comes back the moment you start giving yourself permission to take up space again. We'll keep going in a moment, but for now, take this in. You don't have to earn the right to be seen. You already have it. You've just got to remind yourself how to step back into the light. So, now that we've started reconnecting with ourselves, showing up more fully, and reclaiming the pieces of who we are, let's talk about something that often goes overlooked, but carries immense weight: the power of speaking up. And I don't mean raising your voice or starting arguments. I mean being willing to say the things that matter, clearly, calmly, and without apologizing for them. Somewhere along the way, many of us learn to soften our opinions, to stay agreeable, to avoid making waves. That's not weakness. That's survival in a fast-moving world where we're often taught that harmony is more valuable than honesty. But here's the cost. When you constantly filter yourself, the people around you stop hearing your real voice. And slowly, so do you. Feeling seen isn't just about others noticing you. It's about you deciding to stop hiding, one sentence of truth at a time. Maybe it's telling your partner what you actually need instead of brushing it off. Maybe it's saying no to plans that drain you, without guilt. Maybe it's sharing your opinion in a meeting without overthinking how it might land. Each time you speak from that place of calm truth, you reinforce your presence to the world and to yourself. When was the last time you said what you truly felt without softening it? And here's what's beautiful about it. When you start doing this, people begin responding to you differently. Not because you've suddenly become louder, but because you become more real. That kind of presence cuts through the noise. But let's pause here and talk about something that might surprise you. How you treat your own reflection matters more than you think. I know it sounds almost shallow at first, but how often do we look in the mirror and rush to judge what's changed, what's aging, what's not enough? That quiet criticism builds over time. And when you constantly see yourself through a lens of lack, it's no wonder you start to feel invisible. Because you're not seeing you either. You're only seeing flaws. Try this instead. Take 10 seconds, literally just 10, to look at yourself and say something kind. Not fake, not forced, just something true and gentle. I've carried a lot and I'm still here. There's strength in those eyes. I like how I handled things today. You don't need affirmations taped to the mirror if that's not your thing, but you do need to interrupt that internal dialogue that keeps diminishing you. Because visibility begins with self-recognition. You can't expect the world to celebrate what you keep hiding or criticizing. And while we're here, let's talk about community. Midlife has a sneaky way of isolating people. Friends drift, kids grow up, routines become tight, and before you know it, the phone rings less. That can make you feel even more invisible, like your presence isn't missed or needed. But here's the truth. Connection doesn't just happen anymore. It needs to be chosen, created, protected. If you feel unseen, ask yourself, where are the spaces I feel safe to be fully myself? Who actually listens without fixing or judging? And if that space doesn't exist right now, it's okay. You can create it, slowly, intentionally. Start by inviting someone to walk with you, or by sending a message that says, "Hey, I've been thinking about you," or by joining something new that aligns with your interests, not just your obligations. Even one meaningful connection can light the spark of visibility again. You deserve to be around people who see you, not just for who you've been to them, but for who you're still becoming. And becoming doesn't stop at 45. It doesn't stop at 50 or 60. That's the illusion, that after a certain point, we're supposed to settle into the background and let the younger generation take the spotlight. But life isn't a stage with limited lighting. There's enough room for all of us to be seen, in our way, in our timing, with our stories. We've explored some of the most powerful ways to reconnect with your visibility so far, but there's still one more we need to talk about. One that ties everything together and gives your presence its full depth. Let's talk about the final piece, the one that often gets ignored because it feels, well, indulgent. But it's not. In fact, it might be the most transformative of all. Doing something that lights you up just because it does, not because it's productive, not because it serves your family, not because it moves your career forward, but simply because it brings you joy or wonder or energy. That one thing that makes time disappear, that makes you smile without realizing it, that makes you feel, even if just for a moment, like you again. You'd be amazed how many people have no idea what that is anymore. Not because they don't have passions, but because they buried them under years of responsibilities. They forgot, or worse, they convinced themselves it's no longer relevant. But the fastest way to remind the world that you're here is to reconnect with the things that remind you that you're alive. Maybe it's painting, maybe it's salsa dancing, maybe it's hiking, or restoring furniture, or gardening, with your hands deep in the dirt. It doesn't matter what it is, only that it's yours, that it stirs something in you. And when you start to nurture that spark, people notice. They might not say anything, but they feel it. You're lit from within. You move differently, speak differently. Your presence changes, and with it, so does your visibility. You don't need to become a new person. You just need to return to the parts of you that were never gone, only waiting. And as we close, let's be real. Feeling invisible isn't just about attention. It's about belonging, about feeling like you matter, like you're part of something, like who you are still has weight in conversations, in rooms, in your own mirror. But here's what I want you to carry with you. You were never meant to fade into the background. Not now, not ever. This phase of life isn't your exit, it's your emergence. With fewer apologies, with clearer boundaries, with a deeper sense of self than ever before. You don't need a life overhaul. You don't need a dramatic reinvention. You just need a few intentional shifts, the kind we talked about today, to start feeling like yourself again, to remember your presence matters, and to let the world feel it too. If this resonated with you, I'd love to hear your story in the comments. You're not alone in this. Far from it. And the more we talk about these things, the more visible we all become. If this video helped you in any way, go ahead and tap that like button. It helps others find it too. And if you want more practical, reflective content like this, consider subscribing to the channel. We're building something here. Space for calm, clarity, and growth in midlife. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.